Chapter 810, Learning is My Hobby. Thinking that if it were truly dangerous and beyond her ability to help, Madame Judgment would surely protect her, Franca pulled out a sheet of pure white paper and began her reply. Dear Madame Judgment, if Mr. Star's requests are within reason, I have no problem with them. After writing this, Franca read the rest of Madame Judgment's letter. The demoness of Black's description and speculation about the primordial demoness are a common view within the demoness sect. However, if it were that simple, things wouldn't be this complicated. Many high-ranking witches believe the mirror world is vital for the demoness pathway. This isn't entirely inaccurate, but as a collective concept of doors, the mirror world seems incapable of bearing such importance. These are things we need to understand further. Two of Cups, I know this may be harsh, but you still need to continue infiltrating the demoness sect for a while. You are currently our highest-ranked member within the sect. Due to the peculiarities of the demoness pathway, we cannot actively cultivate male assassins, and the existing demoness sect members are mentally twisted, longing to approach the primordial one. We can only passively wait and find people like you who inadvertently enter the assassin pathway. Suddenly feeling a heavy sense of responsibility, Franca muttered to herself, sighed, and continued writing her reply. She wasn't too disappointed, still hoping to obtain the main ingredients for the demoness of despair within the sect, provided she found a way to bypass the cruel requirements of the advancement ritual. After sending her reply, Franca leaned back in her chair, gazing idly out the window at the night sky. Suddenly, the area in front of her grew extremely dark, and a silver skull emerged from the void, holding a letter in its mouth. Another letter? What's going on? Franca took it, thanked the messenger, and watched it leave before opening the letter, inhaling its subtle, enduring fragrance. Dear Muggle, do you remember the previous invitation? We're having an offline gathering in Trier this Saturday at 10 p.m. Are you still interested in attending? If so, please reply promptly, and I'll inform you of the location and participation details. Professor, an offline meeting of the Academy team. Lumien's life is so eventful. I've barely been his proxy for a few days, and I'm already swamped with tasks, one after another. Should he be called Seven? Even Seven needs sleep. He doesn't. Franca couldn't help but lampoon. She had already noticed that wherever Lumien went, hidden catastrophes erupted one after another. But since she hadn't been directly involved in most of them, the impact hadn't been as apparent. Now, as his liaison, she felt it keenly. After a while, Franca sighed. She'd have to use the ice amulet to contact Lumien again. Since obtaining it from the demoness of Black, she hadn't used it for investigating the mirror people, spending it all on Lumien-related matters. She needed to ask Lumien if he wanted to attend the offline gathering of the Academy team, which might include members of the Moses Ascetic Order. If he did, he'd need to designate a substitute and try to send out the lie earrings. Franca quickly wrote a letter regarding the matter, wrapping a copper coin, some wraith dust, and her rarely used Beatrice's necklace in the paper. She had noticed that after passing through the Seal of Morora, Lumien's letters lost their physical form, leaving only pure information. So, she planned to experiment, seeing if ordinary items, highly spiritual items, and beyonder items could all pass through the seal and in what state they would exist. The experiment's results would determine if the lie earrings could be sent out. If it weren't for the fact that each mystical item was precious and useful, Franca would have included items containing beyonder characteristics in this experiment. After preparing the small package, Franca walked to the full-length mirror in the living room, putting on the ice amulet. As it flashed with crystalline cold light, Franca pressed the package into the glass surface. Late at night in Morora, on the second floor of the Carnivore Bar, Lumien sat under a glowing white fireball, focused on reading examples of underground mausoleum construction. Suddenly, he looked up, his eyes bloodshot, and glanced at the mirror in the room. The mirror's surface had turned dark, with ripples moving within it. Lumien reluctantly set down his book, approached the mirror, and placed his right hand on it. He saw Intisian words appearing on the mirror's surface, line after line, densely packed. Professor's invitation, Academy team's offline gathering, experiment with transferring items. Lumien's thoughts raced. Taking advantage of the ice amulet's active effect, he reached into the mirror and pulled out an item. It was a diamond necklace. Beatrice's necklace. The copper coin and wraith, just mentioned in Franca's letter, were gone. Lumien looked back at the mirror, seeing an image of the coin and wraith dust around the densely packed words, with a ghostly presence. As the ice amulet's power waned and the words faded, the items gradually disappeared. Only pure information and items with Beyonder power can pass through that special mirror world, through the seal, and reach here. Items with godhood shouldn't work either, only something made within Morora. Lumien played with Beatrice's necklace, using the ice amulet's remaining power to send Franca 2 words. Necklace, okay. The aqueous glow within the mirror quickly receded, and the dark glass returned to normal. Soon, the mirror showed another anomaly. This time, Franca sent the ice amulet through. This helped Lumien conserve the use of the mirror, cuffling only 2 uses left. Holding the icy talisman, Lumien began writing his reply. He detailed the experiment results and his observations on the item transfer process, then instructed Franca to attend the Academy team's offline gathering in Trier as Muggle on his behalf. After folding the letter and enclosing the lie earrings and ice amulet, Lumien activated the latter, pressing the package into the glass mirror, sending it to Franca's apartment mirror. Franca received the items, read Lumien's letter carefully, and murmured to herself, both expectant and anxious. Do I really have to pretend to be Muggle? Sigh, the LCE amulet can only transmit information 9 more times. Meanwhile, Lumien returned to his desk and resumed reading examples of underground mausoleum construction. He was reluctant to rest. The more he read, the more compelling the books became. Of course, Lumien knew this was a sign of slight corruption. Just then, he heard a loud explosion. It came from a few blocks away. Explosion, Lumien used his ascetic endurance to break free from the compulsion, extinguish the fireball, and move to the window to observe outside. The explosions continued, with brilliant flames illuminating the streets hundreds of meters away. It was on the route from the carnivore bar to the Church of Knowledge. Lumien saw Julie jump out of her room, landing lightly like a feather, then blending into the shadows, disappearing. Hunters causing explosions and fires, Lumien rubbed his temples, looking reluctant. He grumbled to himself, I really don't want to get involved in your schemes and fights. I just want to study peacefully. Since discovering the important knowledge in the books specified by Harroburg, he had become increasingly focused, spending all his time reading except when acting outside. If not for the risk of exposing the book's importance, he would have used his special abilities to study all night. The more seriously he studied, the less he wanted to do anything else, often relying on sheer willpower and even his ascetic abilities to break free from that mental state. After a moment, Lumien's expression calmed, and he muttered to himself, when I find the opportunity to eliminate you all, I can finally study in peace. Suppressing his abnormal emotions, Lumien transformed into a shadow creature, slipping into the darkness between buildings and heading toward the explosion site. Soon, he reached the destination and saw a half-collapsed building, Dad's Agricultural Company. Wanak's Dad's Agricultural Company. Someone attacked Wanak. Lumien snapped out of his study-induced haze, his mind suddenly alert. He saw 2 giant figures emerge from the building. They were 3 to 4 meters tall, with iron-like skin and blue paint depicting clothing, each holding a giant broadsword. Iron soldiers, giant iron soldiers. Lumien immediately recalled the iron soldiers he had seen deep in the Sauron family's Red Swan Castle crypt. The next moment, one of the iron soldiers smashed through the collapsed wall and fixed its cold gaze on the shadow Lumien was hiding in. It charged at Lumien, raising its giant broadsword.